It's 11 p.m. and the electricity department is doing an emergency repair on a substation to restore the power supply to this community. When the substation blew, it took out many people's fridges, television sets and other appliances.
They've taken 2 brass nipples and the other thing is brass tap. The worth of that, 45 rand at any scrapyard. To replace the unit, 1.5 million.
As dit koppe wat dit gedoen het. Our children, no one else. It's our children that's involved. And we have to stop it.
South Africa is systematically being stripped of non-ferrous metal by petty thieves, drug addicts, and by major syndicates. This theft is placing an enormous burden on our economy and on us as individuals. This is the Leon's Dale Clinic in Elsie's River. It used to be a thriving clinic. Today it is closed and operates twice a week, providing a minimal service with skeleton staff. Thieves broke into the clinic initially for medicine and then helped themselves to copper taps, light fittings, copper cable, and destroyed the clinic. Streetlights in the area burned 24/7 in an attempt to stop the copper cables being stolen from the lampposts. The municipality went as far as welding the inspection hatches on, but to no avail. They too have been stolen. This is the Eerste Rivier sewage pump station that looks like it was abandoned years ago. It is a vital link in the sewage pumping system. In March 2008, it was still fully functioning. Copper thieves broke through the roof and stole the copper pipes and any kind of non-ferrous metal. All the metal, including the steel burglar bars protecting the electrical installations inside the building, have been stolen. Then all the hatches and the pump itself went. Today the plant works on gravity and is putting additional strain on the surrounding pump stations and will cost the ratepayers millions to repair. In Mfuleni, the electrical pumps along the main water pipeline have been totally stripped. They pump fresh water along a section of the pipeline and also release a charge into the pipe to stop it from corroding. This electricity pylon has had the lower stabilizing railings stripped. If it were to blow over, it would bring the pylons on either side of it down and drop a 660,000 volt cable across the busy R300. A disaster too ghastly to contemplate. Not only are municipalities affected by cable theft, but also other major utilities including Metrorail, Transnet, Eskom, and notably Telkom, where costs incurred through cable theft amounted to 685 million in 2006-2007. These costs included loss of revenue and implementation of new security measures to prevent further theft.
This cable's here every week. We must come and replace it.
These are but a few of the incidents, all caused by non-ferrous metal theft, which occurred within the boundaries of Cape Town throughout 2006 and 2007. In fact, statistics show that for this financial period, it had cost the city and therefore its ratepayers 22 million rand to repair and replace stolen or vandalized cables and equipment at substations, new development areas, reservoirs, sewage pump stations, and other municipal property. But things started to change in June 2007. Realizing the serious implications for Cape Town, the City Council established the Non-Ferrous Metal Theft Task Team headed by Councillor Pieter van Dalen. This team, also known as the Copperheads, immediately set out to tackle the non-ferrous metal theft issue head-on.
After intense investigation, we found that most of the copper that was stolen, it was exported through Cape Town Harbour. This was the second biggest export out of Cape Town, something to the tune of 77 million rand. We also found out that the copper was exported to the east, China mainly. The copper that was stolen, it went through normal scrap dealers that have export permits to export it to China. And the thieves that were committing this was syndicates, drug addicts, and normal people that just stole for the money.
After intensive investigation and with the cooperation of the South African police, several arrests of cable thieves and corrupt scrap metal dealers took place.
After the establishment of a specialized unit dealing only with copper cable theft in the city of Cape Town, we have reduced the theft of copper cabling from 22 million right down to 500,000 rand in the city of Cape Town. This is just some of the stuff that we found back after we had tip-offs from the community. We have established a toll-free number for the reporting of cable theft that have had good results, and we get a lot of tip-offs from the community onto this toll-free number, and we are very reliant on that.
Die skrapjate, hulle is op die blame vir almal hierdie dinge. Because hulle kan mos sien as jy 'n draad kom wat vanaf kom wat dit is. Hulle vat dit net, hulle vra nie, hulle investigate nie dat dit.
In the future, scrap dealers will have to be a lot more careful about what they buy because of the new second-hand goods bill.
One of the priorities with the new Second-Hand Goods Act is to address non-ferrous metal theft in a manner that allows the industry to play a role in self-regulation, but also to make it worthwhile for dealers to become legitimate and to register with the South African Police. The onus to ensure that goods are not stolen is placed on the dealer.
All dealers in second-hand goods, including scrap metal dealers and metal recyclers, will have to follow strict procedures before buying and selling their products. The Act will stipulate that every person who carries on a business as a dealer must register via a prescribed process. Should a dealer intend to conduct business from more than one premises or store goods on additional premises, application for registration will be required for each of those premises. Dealers recycling non-ferrous metals such as copper or aluminium must, in addition to registering as a dealer, register as a recycler.
Once again, I think this benefits the dealers in the sense that they would be able to turn away people who try to sell suspicious cable or cable from a suspicious source, and it also assists the police in prosecuting those offenders, as most of the illegitimate recyclers will use burning the copper cable as a method of recycling, whereas the proper recyclers all have equipment to dispose of the cover of the cable.
The original certificate of registration must be displayed prominently on the premises for which the certificate has been issued. It remains valid for a period of 5 years. An application for renewal will have to be made at least 90 days before the date of termination. The Act also stipulates the keeping of a register in a prescribed form and the recording of particulars regarding every acquisition or disposal of goods.
The 2008 Act, I think, is a huge improvement also in the sense that dealers who transport, for instance, copper cable, will have to ensure that they are registered. So dealing from a truck, for instance, would now be much more difficult if a dealer is not registered. Registered dealers will inform the police of the whereabouts of their vehicles, or at least the information pertaining to those vehicles, so that the illegitimate dealers who deal quickly or buy stolen property quickly and then disappear will have a much more difficult time to prove that they are actually legitimate and that the transactions that they have are also legitimate.
These records have to contain all the personal particulars of the person from whom the goods are acquired, including a verified ID number and contact details. The following details also need to be recorded: a description of the goods, serial number or any distinguishing mark or feature of the goods, the number assigned to the goods, the price paid, the name and signature of the person who conducted the transaction on the dealer's behalf, the date and time of the transaction, date on which the goods were sold, or an account of how and when the goods were otherwise disposed of.
It was accepted that all transactions must be recorded in a physical register. The new Act does not provide for the specific format, so each dealer will be responsible to use a system which would allow the police to inspect it, whether it's a physical register that is being written up or whether it's an electronic system. The electronic system, however, must comply with the Act in the sense that it must contain the information required by the Act, but also that it's possible for the police to inspect that register.
Should a dealer suspect that any name, address, or document furnished is false, goods offered are stolen, or the appearance or aspects of an item has been tampered with, such dealer must immediately report this to the police or face prosecution. If the casing of copper cable is burnt off, no person may possess, buy, or sell it, except where there is a good explanation.
There are dealers at the moment who have a system where the truck is photographed when it enters the yard. It's on a weighbridge. A photograph is taken of the metal on the back of the truck. The driver is photographed. The driver's identity document is scanned. Also, the weight of the metal on the scale is recorded. So the whole process is monitored. And I think that will be a huge advantage to the dealer, not only for their own stock control purposes, but also for the police in the audit trail to find out where the metal is bought from and where it's going.
All goods must be kept for a period of 7 days, during which time the form or appearance thereof may not be altered. During this time, the articles have to be kept separate from all other goods of the same or similar kind and description. Dealers are especially cautioned against the buying of suspicious-looking items. With regards to non-ferrous metal, these include, among others, new materials like shiny bright copper cable, painted copper piping, manhole or stormwater drain covers, water meters, galvanized street poles, and anything delivered by a municipal vehicle. There is a long list of items to be avoided, and dealers are advised to obtain sample boards displaying all the articles they will not buy. The good news for legitimate dealers and recyclers is that the Act allows for a measure of self-regulation, and so it would benefit scrap dealers to be part of accredited associations which are registered with the National Commissioner. They will enjoy certain exemptions from the Act if the association they belong to has higher standards for their members than those required in terms of the Act. This means that the dealers will have to comply with strict association rules.
Benefit would, for instance, be if there's a proper system of electronic surveillance in a dealer's plant. It would be easy to follow the process of the metal, to identify the seller, to identify the vehicle that it's being sold from, to require from a dealer to keep separate registers of the person from whom it is being bought, etc., would then actually be a duplication of records. So if the association would prescribe a certain type of electronic record keeping, which satisfies the National Commissioner, then they would be exempted from the record-keeping provisions that are in the Act.
The message to scrap metal dealers is clear and simple. Do not buy stolen goods. Failure to comply with this new Act will be an offence punishable with a hefty fine and/or imprisonment for up to 10 years.
So jy moet veronderstel om te weet dat jy moet 'n kopie van die ID maak, jy moet 'n volledige adres maak. Jy is ook veronderstel om te weet as jy die goedere wat jy hier aangekoop weer gaan verkoop, moet jy daai inligting moet jy dit daaroor inskryf. Julle doen niks van dit nie. So die boek soos wat hy nou is niks seggend.
The new Act will also increase the powers of non-ferrous metal theft units like the Copperheads of the City of Cape Town, Telkom, Eskom, and SAPS, the South African Protection Association, which is the municipal coordinating body of non-ferrous metal theft.
The new Act will be implemented through a more efficient national structure where each police station will have a designated police officer that will deal with all the applications for registration, but also with the coordination of operations, so that the routine inspections that are contained in the Act will be performed by people working under the designated police officer, but also that criminal investigations will probably be initiated by the designated police officer also. One of the advantages also of the new legislation is that it makes provision for a warrant to close down a business for a certain period of time so that the investigation can continue.
By taking cognizance of this new Act and adhering to it, dealerships, no matter how big or small, will make a huge difference in saving the country and their municipality millions of rand.
The advantage is that a dealer who's registered and who complies with all the standards that are set will be able to do his business and trade efficiently. The dealer who's illegitimate and do not register or does all kinds of suspicious transactions will be forced to comply with the law at some stage, or bear the full brunt of the law, which carries a maximum penalty of 10 years imprisonment. So I think the deterrence factor is one aspect of it, but the benefit of being legitimate also is a major incentive.
For more details, contact the Non-Ferrous Metal Theft Task Team at hotline 0800 222 771. Should you wish to report a telecom-related cable theft, please call their toll-free crime report line at 0800 124 000. Rail-related crime can be reported on Metro Rail's toll-free number 0800 210 081 or on Transnet toll-free number 0800 003 056. Report ESCOM-related crime to the Forensic Investigations Division on toll-free number 0800 11 2722 or contact SARPA, which is the Municipal Coordinating Body, on 082 850 5318 or to the SAP at Crime Stop on 086 0010 111.